Welcome once again to Nome Night Live. And I'd like to introduce you to your host for tonight's program. Here's Johnny.
Thank you. I'm glad you could join us this evening, and I want to thank everybody for joining us here at Nome Night Live, coming to you live from the multi-purpose room of the elementary school. I've received a lot of positive comments over the last few weeks, and we want to thank everybody sincerely for helping us out. This is, of course, the last of a three-part pilot series aimed at providing you with local origination TV. And we want you to know that it can continue, but not without your permanent fund dividend check. And if you'd like to send it on over to us, endorse, we'd be glad to accept it. Tonight's program is going to be great. I think you'll find it rather interesting, especially if you who like dogs or happen to run within a canine clique. I think you'll find this program rather interesting. We're going to be interviewing, of course, different people throughout the evening. Some from Nome, like Ray Lang, some from out of town, like Libby Riddles and Joe Garney, and even Oscar and Lizzie Swanson from Koyuk are with us this evening to talk about what mushing was like 50 years ago around here. And I do believe, Cary, that we've even got some of the lighter side of dog mushing. We've got people that we'll be talking to tonight, including Bill Jack and his dog food. Will his dog eat the food on TV? That's the question. We've also got some other information coming up, things that everybody should know. Energy Phil's going to be giving a little segment on, well, how much heat does a dog generate within your house? And other things such as Zen and the art of naming your dog. I'm sure everybody would like to know exactly how do people come up with some of these names. Randy Romanesco will be helping us out with that. And, of course, Steve's Sports Corner. So, I don't want to take any longer. Cary, I do know that we've got quite a show coming.
Yeah, and John, I'm on the show tonight just basically because I knew that most recently you've been interested in mind reading.
Yes.
And so I thought what we could do tonight is perhaps you could tell us the answer to these questions. Now the questions are sealed inside these envelopes here. They were hermetically sealed in an old Crisco jar and kept under a dead walrus for 3 weeks. Now, are you up to this? There's only 4 of them. So
I'm ready. I've been
it's
practicing
strictly above board
with my mail at work, and so I'm ready for this.
Okay. Here's the first envelope. If you could tell us the answer, please.
The answer is glow-in-the-dark toys.
Glow-in-the-dark toys.
Glow-in-the-dark. The question, what happens to your child's bike after leaving it overnight on the Stedman playground?
Envelope number 2.
The answer is constipated.
Constipated. Constipated. Somehow I think I've seen this before.
The question is, give me a description of how the real estate market is moving in Nome.
Envelope number 3.
The answer is from here to eternity.
From here to eternity. From here to eternity.
What is a recent description of the line at the post office?
Okay, that was a great one. Here is envelope number 4. You're doing quite well, I must say. Would never have thought of these answers. Or questions.
Peanuts.
Peanuts.
What will your house be worth after 1986?
And, John, the final envelope. The final envelope for tonight. I must say you're doing quite well with this.
The answer is, hey, taxi!
Hey, taxi.
How will you soon be calling for an ambulance in the near future?
John, it's great. Have a wonderful show.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
I enjoyed having you here too, Cary. Thank you. And we'll be talking to you later in the evening as the night progresses. Cary's going to be... Cary's going to be talking to people in the audience on how you think Nome Night Live should continue, and the real question is if it should continue. Without any further ado, let's go to Pamela and this evening's community calendar. Pam.
Thank you, John. Thank you, audience. You're marvelous, really. I am Pamela Thomas. This is the community calendar, evening of December 4th. This is Thursday. In cooperation with the City of Nome, Dr. Derek Leedy, Nome's resident veterinarian, will hold the 1987 Nome Animal Vaccination Clinic tomorrow and Saturday at the Nome Fire Hall. These services include dog vaccinations for distemper, hepatitis, leptospirosis, kennel cough, parvovirus, rabies, and deworming. Cat vaccinations are available as well. This two-day clinic will offer specially reduced prices, which will include the 1987 City of Nome Animal License. Again, that's the 1987 Nome Animal Vaccination Clinic, continuing tomorrow and Saturday. Speaking of dogs, the 13th annual Iditarod Basketball Classic will be held March 14th through March 21st, 1987. Comprised of A, B, and AA teams with male and female teams, the Iditarod Classic fee will be $150, and the deadline for that will be February 20th, 1987. So if you haven't got a team together and you want to be in this year's Classic, you can mail that fee to Box 756, Nome. Okay, don't forget December 6th at the Rec Center, because it's the evening of the 1986 Fireman's Carnival, which is sponsored naturally by the Nome Volunteer Fire Department. As you probably know if you visited AC recently and seen the flashing red lights, the fire department is raffling off a beautiful 1987 Arctic Cat Cougar snow machine, a 19-inch color television, and an upright freezer. So Wes Perkins informs me that if you haven't got your tickets, you can continue to get those tickets up until the raffle, which will be held midnight. They're $1 a piece, so everyone can still get their raffle tickets. The carnival begins at 8 o'clock p.m. and should be fun. Speaking of carnivals, we have some puppies with us tonight. Now, they're not your normal run-of-the-mill puppies. I don't really think there's a normal run-of-the-mill puppy, but tonight we have pound puppies because the ladies of Xi Kappa of Beta Sigma Phi are holding their annual toy raffle. And this year, they have a family of pound puppies. They have a papa puppy, mama puppy, brother puppy, and baby sister puppy. Each puppy has a complete wardrobe and their own pound pad. Everything they need to run a perfectly happy pound puppy life. This is, I think, Santa puppy. No, that's... I think that's Papa puppy. This must be... This is a little personal. I don't do this kind of thing normally. I think this must be the mama puppy, and this is the little sister puppy, and this is a... Well, this is a sick puppy. It's got a little nurse's cap. But anyway, they'll be raffling off those tickets for $1 a piece, and they're cute. So if you want your own pound puppy family, you're for your child or for yourself, it'll make the perfect Christmas gift. You can buy those tickets at the Fireman's Fireman's Carnival as well. So get those tickets. They're $1 each. That should wrap it up for me. John, back to you.
Thanks, Pam. She's amazing. She always seems to have it together. I don't know what it is, but thanks, Pamela. It was excellent. Moving right along, our first person that we're going to be talking to this evening about dog business in Nome, and something that I think everybody will enjoy later on as the winter comes, and that is the Nome Kennel Club races. Here to talk with us tonight is Ray Lang. Well, Ray, what's in store for us this year? Yeah, it works.
I'll take the fifth.
Okay.
What's in store for us? Business as usual, I guess.
Okay.
The Kennel Club is in existence again for one more year. We're going to be racing every Sunday, starting January 4th, and we'll be going right on through till April 1st.
Okay, what do you have as far as new and exciting races? I understand there's a Nome Kotzebue race this year.
Correct. We're going to be running basically the All-Alaska Sweepstakes trail to Candle, which is 204 miles from here. And from Candle, we'll be going directly over towards Buckland and then up the peninsula to Kotzebue. Should be a kind of exciting race. Running the old rules, no drop dogs, but if an injured dog occurs, the driver will be able to leave that dog behind and carry the weight of the dog. So hopefully you're only going to injure 15-pound dogs.
Okay. What is it going to be called then, the Nome Kotzebue race, or what's the specific title of it?
Well, the specific title at this stage is the Nome Kotzebue race, and we're going to have a contest in the city here to get a new name for it.
Okay.
We've thought of all kinds of names, like the combination, the exchange, the round trip. It's going off on April 1st, so it could be the April Fool's race. And some of us won't finish till Easter, so we could call it the Resurrection race. Whatever. There's all kinds of names out there.
And what other races do you have planned for us this winter as far as something new? I understand you got something that's going to go through town, too?
Yeah, in a lapse of memory, somebody decided that it'd be a grand idea to run the dogs through Nome without the dog catcher chasing us. So the race is basically going to start on our normal race trail, and then it will kind of funnel around through Chicken Hill and then over by Reeders, and then through the jetty and down around the firewall, and then maybe down Front Street and dock out Stedman. And the novel thing about this is it's going to be an unlimited race, and you have to carry a burden, which is another spectator in the sled for the first lap, and then you throw the spectator out or pick him up, one or the other, and do it again. I plan on being maybe in church that day.
You're always in church that day, aren't you?
I'm behaving.
You're behaving. So far, so good.
I've been informed.
Yes. Yes, sirree. What else you got coming up for us this year? Anything new that the community of Nome can look forward to?
No.
It's an honest answer, I think. I suppose. How do your dogs look this year, Ray? Are you going to be planning yourself on running any larger races than the Nome Kotzebue race?
I think I'm going to run the businessman's race and maybe this around the town Calcutta.
Okay.
That sounds like an ambitious endeavor for my old dogs.
We keep hearing a lot of Ray Lang and the Iditarod. When's that going to happen?
We keep hearing a lot about senility and Alzheimer's disease also.
I take it the Iditarod then isn't in your plans, at least in this life.
This is almost a definite fact.
Okay. All right. And
but all you people out there have got two good dogs. I'll take them.
Anything else for us tonight, Ray? Or
basically, that's it. We're running a few two-day races: the Dexter Creek Classic and the Solomon Derby, which is going up to Solomon and back. I mean, Salmon Lake and back, not the Solomon Derby. Salmon Lake Derby.
And is that going to be another mass start?
We're going to try and do quite a few races in mass starts. It really helps because the caliber of our dog drivers around here, in 2-minute intervals, we get timing confused. Mickey's hand doesn't line up perfectly all the time, and it's very difficult.
Okay, and so what else do you have as far as any other races coming up that are of interest? If somebody were interested in knowing about the race schedule, who would they contact here in town?
Randy Romanesco. Randy is in the barrel this year, and he is the coordinator of everything. If you want to know about adult education, Randy will take care of it. Anything about dogs, Randy will handle this year. I have his phone number, but I better not give it out at this stage.
Okay.
We're going to be running a lot of junior races, 1 dog and 3 dog and 6 dogs, about 4 or 5 Sundays of the race calendar. And so it'll be fun to be out there and watch them.
Good. All right. Thanks very much, Ray, for joining us this evening. Appreciate it. See you later. Ray Lang. I don't know why it is, but every time he comes on stage for an interview with me, I break out in a cold sweat. I don't know what to expect next. Well, that was very mild, I have to admit that. Thank you, Ray. I want to say that much. Moving on to other things, we've got every week we've had some entertainment come on, and I think that let's see, we've had Chris Ferdell and Val Davis, and this week we don't have musicians, but we do have straight from Nome's own Lew and his juggling partner, Scott Christianson. Isn't there supposed to be some hokey music coming on about now, or? Cary, I want to talk to their booking agent. The guy's out, okay? Coming on is Bill Jack and his dog food commercial. Bill, we want to talk to you. Bill, I want to know one thing here. We've been talking about this for weeks, and the fact that, you know, the Alpo commercial that's on Johnny Carson at night. For some reason, the dog always eats the dog food. Now, I want you to swear to me, has this dog been starved for a week?
No. This dog had a good meal last night.
Good meal.
Yeah, he eats a lot. And I've been feeding him a little extra because it's been a little cold and they've had some long runs lately.
Okay. Bill, you sell dog food, right? Elliot's Dog Food, is it? And why does it smell like a dog in here? Ooh, that's rude. What is that? Is that really dog food? That is dog food. Okay. Now tell me, is this dog going to eat for us right here now? Or not?
Yes.
Okay. Well, here, just show us if the dog will eat and tell us about any of the other medicinal values the dog may have.
I've got a little dog food here. This is the high performance that we sell out at Doggone Happy Kennels. Look at them. See that? And it's very simple to feed. You just pour it in a little dish, and we have some water here. You just pour the water over the top of it like this. As I came up, the gal asked me, "Are you going to turn the water to wine?" And I said, "I'd like to." This is my famous lead dog, Goosack, and Goosack got tired of eating Purina, and I said, "But Goosack, you've been eating this for 4 or 5 years now," and she said, "I know, and I think that's the problem." So she found Elliot Dog Food this summer, and it was like she had found the fountain of youth. She became a puppy again. And in addition, there are other advantages of feeding Elliot Dog Food. Elliot Dog Food, you all know the high prices of groceries in Nome. And a box of Cheerios nowadays cost close to $4 downtown. And I'll tell you something, you've heard of mushers eating dog food out on the trail at times. This stuff is a tremendous alternative to eating Cheerios for breakfast. And if you don't like Cheerios, or if you don't like breakfast, it's an incredible bedtime snack. Elliot Dog Food is loaded with minerals and vitamins and fat content. Just look down here. So, we have a special right now at Doggone Happy Kennels, and if you buy a bag, at this time you get 1 free tour of the kennel. So, I say to you all, you and your dog will love Elliot's. So come on out and buy a bag.
Again, another Nome Night Live first. Bill Jack and eating dog food. I love it. I don't know. How does it compare to horse meat chunks, anyhow? I want to know. Alpo, you want the mic? Give me the mic. Okay, you over there. I'll go over here. Preparation at its best. Energy Phil is with us tonight to talk about what, Phil?
Well, John, it's dog night, right? I mean, we're talking dogs.
We're talking dogs, Phil.
And I did some deep research. I've gone, how efficient is these dogs at running?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's iron dogs, definitely get you there. And you can figure out what their efficiency is. You know, I think I came up with like 15 miles to gallon or something you get with a snowmobile. Well, I figured, how can I do this? Not knowing anything about dog mushing or anything, so I got some of that Elliot Dog Food information and did some number crunching, John. I think you'll be impressed.
I'm ready.
I also found out that a dog uses about 6,000 calories a day when it's on a Iditarod race. Now, if anybody out there knows more than I do about this, they can tell about it later. But this is all I know.
Very few people know more about this, Phil, than you.
Okay, my problem is, though, John, to just move on, is I don't know what a calorie is.
Okay.
I'm into BTUs, right?
That's right.
So I had to go to Maynard Perkins at the community college to tell me what a calorie is compared to a BTU. Well, just for your information, John, there's about 4 calories to a BTU. So don't forget that.
You heard it first.
All right. So there's about, in a pound of Elliott dog food, about 500 BTUs. Now, if you had 10 dogs on the average racing, you'd use about 400 pounds of dog food, of that high-protein super stuff, and this meat and chicken and stuff. Okay. Well, I did some comparisons to gasoline then. It takes about 160 pounds of dog food to make 1 gallon of gasoline.
These are all facts that I'm sure you're writing down.
I mean, okay, so I figured out that these 10 dogs running Iditarod used only about 2.5 gallons of gas to get from Anchorage to Nome.
That's pretty good mileage.
Now, I figured out that mileage. Guess what it is? Okay, I'll tell you, John. About 450 miles to the gallon.
That's not
I
bad.
think that's pretty impressive. I think the dogs need a hand for being efficient. Now, cost-wise, John, dog food's a little bit more in gas. It runs them, a couple of $100 a dog to get them through the Iditarod, where the iron dog racers can probably do it for 120 or something.
That's
but,
true. Is that all you had to tell us tonight?
That's all I really had, John. I thought
Phil, only Energy Phil could come up with facts and figures like that, and I'm sure everybody's going to be taking close note because of the quiz that's coming up at the end of this program. Be sure and take a piece of paper out, put your name at the top, number 1 to 10 out the side. And how many calories, Phil, just don't look at your notes, how many calories to a BTU?
4.
Okay, good.
All right. And if you forget, there's always Maynard Perkins at the college.
That's right.
And thanks again, John. I'm sure next time we can fill them with a few more fun facts.
Fun-filled
energy.
BTU facts. Thanks, Phil.
John.
Appreciate your time. Moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving to one of our sponsors this evening, and that is Al Nomington. And if you'll all watch the monitor and you're in the audience, I think you at home will be able to see it.
It's Al Nomington and his dog Dot. Go see Al, 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 go see Al. If your dog won't pull a sled or he won't get out of bed, go see Al, go see Al, go see Al.
Hi, I'm Al Nomington, and here's my dog, Dot. I'll stand on my feet to give you the best doggone deal in the north. Over here, just recently housebroke, low miles on the trail, doesn't need a heater, $5.99 a course on approval of your good credit.
Yeah, it's a big foot. This is a big foot. He's got a big foot, Brett. Huh? Let's see that big foot. Ooh, what's a big foot?
And here we have our Bigfoot model. He'll go anywhere and any weather with these giant radial grippers all around. And he gets 5 miles to the 50-pound bag, $6.99 a course on approval of your good credit. And here we have our imports for you small dog lovers. Lots of miles left. Comes complete with G and Haw instructions and a full set of Patagonia booties. $2.99 a course on approval of your good credit. Finally, what you've been waiting for, our van conversion. The finest in basket comfort with our quiet ride runners up front where it really counts, especially with an 8-dog team from Al Nomington's finest European models. This week only $7,385.95, of course, with approval of your good credit. Remember, I'll stand on my feet to give you the best doggone deal in the north. Off the Dexter ramp, off the Nomington Freeway, always freeway close.
That's right, you can see Al Nomington and his used sled dog lot just off the Dexter Freeway. Stop by when you're in Nome anytime at good old Al's used sled dog lot, where you can save money.
Thank you, Al Nomington. Moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, as we do every program in Nome Night Live, we've always tried to have one of the folks that are new and not so new. This evening we've got a couple of people with us that have been in this area, I should say in the Seward Peninsula area, for quite some time. And he and her, I believe, have both done some mushing in their time. Joining us from Koyuk, would you please welcome Oscar and Lizzie Swanson. Well, what do you think of this, Oscar?
I don't know.
You don't know, huh? Oscar, you used to mush dogs, what, over 50 years ago in the Seward Peninsula area. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what mushing was like back then? And if I can remind you both, if you'll speak right into the mic, it'll pick up for the audience.
Well, it's almost like it is now, I guess.
Not much change, huh?
No.
Did you race dogs?
No.
You never did? Just used them for freight?
That's all.
Okay. Lizzie, did you run many dogs?
I didn't want to come here because I wasn't a dog musher.
Yeah. But you're here now, huh?
Because I was scared of the dogs. I rode in them.
Okay.
Maybe 2-3 times in my life I drove dogs when I was young chicken.
A young chicken?
But I rode in lots of dog teams when I was small and growing up.
Did Oscar ever take you out in the sled?
Yes.
He did.
And I'll say that he was a pretty tough musher because he used to carry mail from Haycock to Galvin. Maybe he'll finish telling it himself.
Okay. Oscar, exactly what type of work did you do with your dogs anyhow?
All freight.
Freight for who? Yourself? Other people? Or?
Anyone I wanted freight.
So kind of before the flying business came to be, there was dog sleds, huh?
Yeah.
And what type of freight would you haul anyhow?
Everything that you get, horse feed, wood,
Okay.
groceries.
Were dogs, the dogs that you have now that you see on racing teams much different from the dogs that you used to use?
Yes.
How were they different?
Our dogs were slow and big. These dogs are kind of fast. We couldn't keep up with these new dogs.
How long would it take you to get say, take a trip from Haycock to Galvin anyhow?
3 days.
And you'd be hauling quite a load then, wouldn't you?
No, not too much of a load because that was just a mail trip. Like your planes, you only have 2-3 empty sacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we had, or that's all I had.
Empty sacks, huh?
Mostly. Oh, there's a few letters in the sacks. You know how your mail comes in?
Uh-huh.
Same way.
Okay. So you, when did you start driving dogs anyhow?
Oh, about 10 years old.
When you were 10 years old?
Yeah.
And what year was that?
Oh, that's quite a while ago.
Let's see, what, as far as when you were 10 years old, were you hauling freight then too, or did you just pick it up as a hobby?
Well, for ourselves, I did. There was no hobby those days when you drove dogs.
Okay. What, Lizzie, did you help him with his dogs and feeding him every day too?
No, I never did. I didn't like to take care of dogs.
Why not?
I don't know. I had kids to take care of, babies.
And those are more trouble than dogs, huh?
Yes, and I was
We
afraid
never had
to.
dogs that time.
I was afraid to fool around with them.
How many dogs did you have anyhow?
Most of the time we had 15, 16.
15 or 16 dogs.
I hardly ever drove more than 11.
Oh, yeah? And what, did you ever have anything that was perilous happen to you on the trail?
No,
or
never.
Everything was just hunky-dory all the time? Oh, that's good. I wish that had happened to me.
I never went out in any storms or never got caught in any storm or anything.
Was that because you were too watchful of the weather, or is that just by chance?
Mostly smart, yeah.
Lizzie, did you approve of Oscar driving dogs, or was it a matter of just something that you had to do to make a living?
Oh, he drove dogs more before we got married, so I never say anything when he wants to drive. And his brother Charlie was the one that drove the most after we got married.
How long ago did you get married?
1936.
1936?
Yes.
We're talking 50 years here together.
Yeah, 50 years.
So when was your anniversary?
February 4th.
Oh, great.
36.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I appreciate you coming to talk to us this evening, and I'm glad you came down from Quick, and I'm glad both of you had a chance to come and talk to us a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you more in the future. So, Oscar, take care of Lizzie, and Lizzie, take care of Oscar, and we'll hopefully...
I do.
You do. We'll hopefully see you again in the future. Thank you. One of the things everybody wants to know about, and that is, how do people come up with the names for their dogs that we sometimes see and hear? Here with us tonight to explain this theory on Zen and the art of naming a dog is Randy Romanesco. Randy.
So you tell me, John.
I thought I'd just let you do it.
Thanks. I'd like to start with a little Zen story. Little boy was sitting on his father's lap, overlooking the tundra around Nome. The little boy asked his father, he said, Dad, how did my big brother get his name? And the father says, well, your mother and I have this tradition that we picked up from the North Country here, that the morning after the birth, mother would sit in this very chair, and she'd look out in the tundra, and the first thing she'd see, that was the name of the child. So the morning that your little brother was born, your mother was sitting in this chair, looked out, and saw the honey bucket man walking by. So we named him John. Little boy says, well, Dad, what about Sis? And he says, well, you know, the same thing. Your mother went to the hospital, had a little baby girl, sat down the morning after, looked out on a beautiful, clear, crystal night, and bingo, that was it. Crystal was her name. So the little boy's sitting on his daddy's lap, and he's got a puzzled look on his face, and the father says, what's the matter, son? What's all these questions? And what's your problem, two dogs mating?
Okay.
Well, the moral of the story, in naming names, be they a child or tonight's theme in dogs, is well, there's not a story. I needed a lead in.
You did.
It worked better than I thought. Well, anyways, John and his lovely wife, Jeannie Fitzgerald, they're expecting a baby. And they're reading all these books, and they're asking all their friends, trying to come up with a name for this lovely babe to be born. And it's a piece of cake, John. You got 9 months to figure out what a name is. I mean, how'd you like to have 62 days and 10 pups to come up with a name?
That's true. That's
where Zen comes in. You just let it happen.
Okay.
I was visiting a friend of mine in Fairbanks, and he was whipping up some spice cookies when a litter was born. And he just started grabbing spice bottles. So he had a ginger and a rosemary and a pepper and a thyme and a sage. Well, there was one litter. He just, boom, Zen. It was there. Or you could be like Brian Blandford. He'll be sitting over a bowl of alphabet soup, First letter that pops up, that's the name of the litter. So an O pops up, so it's the O litter. He's got Velcro and Zippo and Oreo and Orville and Olive, and it's just that easy.
That's Zen, huh?
That's Zen.
Okay.
It's like the people down in Bethel. Dog 1, dog 2, dog 3. It's just whatever works. Some people, I've seen guys take out Wall Street journals, and they don't go to the stock section because no one wants to name their dog USX, so they go to another section. They start whipping darts, right? This guy had a team of prepositions. I couldn't believe it, of, with, behind. Hard to believe.
It is hard to believe.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that it, Randy?
You want me to stop?
As a matter of fact, yes. I've got signals from our cameraman down here that we're running kind of behind, but you have explained to us very interestingly enough how people do go about naming their dogs. And is there any closing statements, Randy, that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I just give you like one last tip. You got to remember when you're out running dogs, it tends to be cold. So when you give a name, it's got to be something you can say when your lips are frozen. Like Theodore doesn't work. You know, it's like Theodore, Theodore. You know, so it's got to be short, cryptic.
You're
to
right.
The point.
Short, cryptic word. Thank you very much, Randy Romanesco.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. From the sublime to the not so sublime, we're going to be talking to somebody that has her work in, I guess you could say, fashion and beauty. And she owns a local hair studio here in town. Her name is Ramona Dennis. Ramona. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Ramona, you know, with all the big coverage that's coming up now on the Iditarod, it's important for people to look their best at the Iditarod finish line, or any finish line for that matter. And can you explain a little bit about what it takes to, you know, take care of yourself or your hair or whatever?
Well, I realize out on the trail they don't really have a whole lot of time to be pampering themselves and this type of thing, and the female racers don't have time with blow dryers and curling irons and to be moisturizing their skin. But it only takes a few minutes for those moisturizers, and the wind and cold and everything is very important, that they try to moisturize and keep their skin looking good for these cameras. We get a lot of coverage from NBC, ABC, and national coverage is important for them to look their very best.
Later on, we're going to be bringing out some of the models that Ramona has taken the liberty of trying to show us what, you know, how you can look, or what is important to look like at the finish line. Ramona, what else is important with the care of hair?
The care of their hair, again, like I said, it's real cold and they don't have a lot of time and everything, so it just takes a few minutes, a matter of gel and a few little ribbons maybe here and there.
To look their best. And I'm curious, when they get to White Mountain, they probably could do that since they have a 4-hour layover.
4 hours is a lot of time, and they can take care of everything and still get rested up. And I would even be willing sometimes to fly out there and help them with last-minute touch-ups if they wanted.
Okay, at this time, shall we bring on one of our models that you have maybe done up to look at for the Iditarod styles? Okay, let's bring out our first model this evening. Come here, come here, come here. Yes, sirree. Hi, Benet. Come here, Benet. Well, hi. How are you? Ooh, I like it. Lots of mousse. You bet. And the ribbon really looks good. Thank you, lovely Carol. And, ooh, the tail effect. Benet, come on back up here. This poor dog acts like a Catholic. It's amazing. Okay, now tell me a little bit about this model here.
Well, what we've done with Benet this evening is the colored mousse and everything did not want to stay, and she didn't like the sound of the cans of the hairspray, so we took eyeshadow and glitter and sprinkled it through her hair with gel to get the effect of the punk rock look. We have a lot of younger people watching the races and things these days to get the spiked effect on her fur.
Yeah, it's becoming. I can see a whole team. Now somebody's going to do it. You know somebody's going to do it when they come across the finish line. Okay, and our second model this evening is a lovely chow look, I believe. And this is, whose dog is it?
Harris's dog, and her name is Tiffany. And what we've done with her, this is a very carefree, maintenance-free hairstyle with cornrowing and the beads. You can do this before the race and not have to mess with it at all. You don't have to touch this again. Just add a little bit of color to the top and a ribbon, and that's all there is.
Ramona, I've got to ask you, how much does a I don't want to use a word, but how much does this dog do cost?
From the experience I had getting these dogs ready, it's quite costly.
Ramona Dennis from Genesis Hair Studio, thank you for joining us this evening. You want to take that I think we caught a few people off. One of the biggest hits to come along in quite some time. He was a big hit the first night he was on. He's a big hit still. And that is Steve's Sports Corner.
Well, thank you, John, and welcome, sports fans. First thing I got to say, I have to apologize for running Mark Rogers out of town. That was, the big challenge match. I didn't expect him to fly to Phoenix the week afterwards, so the next person I rip, I hope you don't take it so seriously. Right now, on Friday night, the Nome Bells Nanics are taking on the Norfolk Bears, and I think you should go out there and support your team. The boys at this moment are 2-1, and they're off to a good start. I think it might be due to the Elliott dog food, but Coach Jack has got them going. Good job, Bill. Okay, now we're talking about dog mushing. Dog mushing as a spectator sport has got to be the most boring thing in the world. I mean, it makes Father Jim's spots on the radio sound exciting. But Nome is lucky to have the last great race end here. But it kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl. For 2 weeks you get all this great media from John McCrae, and you get all pumped up, and you're all excited to see the winner. Then all of a sudden you just have one winner, and you have to wait 3 extra hours for another winner, and it gets kind of boring at that point. But we do have a hot tip. Hot tip number 1, how to enjoy the last big race. And it's called big screen viewing. I personally find it rather stupid to stand outside for 2 hours to wait for Raymond, or if you wait for Raymond, you might be waiting for days upon days to come in. So I think you should, rather than standing outside in the cold, next to somebody's parka, which needs a good spring cleaning, I think that you could stay at one of our finer establishments. We got a lot of them, like the Polaris or the Bering Sea Saloon. Personally, I kind of like the Nugget Inn. You got the big screen. You got Michelle there to attend all your needs, or most of your needs. And it is rather nice. Now, for you die-hard mushing fans who need to be outside to experience the real joy of it, hot tip number 2. I personally recommend that you rent for $5 an hour some little kid to go out there and save your spot for you. The best spots by the chute are the ones across from the CBS camera, and so then you can hold up the traditional sporting signs. Like the first one, Dad, please send money. Your son, Steve. That's always a biggie. Then the next one, which it's beyond me why it's always there, is John 3:16. I mean, how many of us here know what John 3:16 is in the first place? But every sporting event, you see somebody with the rainbow hair sporting a John 3:16 sign. So, anyway, John, to wrap this glorious night up for me, I was leaving the Nugget one night and walking home. My home just happens to be pretty close to the dog lot, and for some strange reason, that night I was able to communicate with them. And this was one of the last year after the race, and all these dogs are out there, and I had a nice talk with some of them, and they all came to an agreement about the 3 things about the race which kind of irks them at this moment in time. The first is that why Susan Butcher would allow a great dog team to be destroyed by a blankety-blank moose. Since we're on TV, I couldn't believe how much they swear. And to them, it was an unfathomable sin that she would allow such a great team be destroyed and then moan and groan about her bad luck. They couldn't understand it. They're very helpful, very glad that Dave Monson kind of followed her around last year to protect her through this. The second thing is they can't understand why Raymond Lang could even think about going 1,049 miles without his luxuries. It's a well-known fact among the dog lot that Ray is a man who enjoys his comforts. There is even a rumor going around that his darling wife, Carla, sewed up the fly of his long johns to protect the family jewels, just in case that Ray was brave enough to test the elements. There is another rumor that Carl is the one who nicknamed him Lightning Lang. I don't know if that's what that means, but the dogs were having a good time that night. Anyway, but the thing that bothers the dogs more than anything else is, and what they find extremely humiliating to them, is why in the world they have to take urine analysis. I mean, they said not one of them has ever come into Nome, John, and said, wow, did I hallucinate on that trip? I mean, it's the drivers who are hallucinating. And they think that if they have to take UAs, the drivers have to take UAs. And thank you, and good night until next week on Steve's Sports Corner.
After that, I don't think we have to worry about it next time, Steve. It's all over now. Coming down from Teller, Alaska, they don't need an introduction, Libby Riddles and Joe Garney.
Hey, John, who was that guy?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think he's all washed up now, that's for sure. Well, how you guys doing anyhow? How's things going up in Tellerville, and what have you been up to anyhow?
Just training dogs.
You've got a big race coming up here, don't you? I mean, not but a couple months away.
Now, Libby's got it, and I hope it stays 60 below the whole time. Only wishing well.
Oh, we're trying to get this guy ready to go to Minnesota to race for the bear grease race.
Okay, and when's that, Joe?
It's on the 7th of January.
Okay.
We're right in the middle of training.
Great. Libby, you've been, you just finished a couple of commercials down Lower 48, or I guess just outside of Anchorage at Hatcher Pass. You want to tell us about that and maybe a little bit about the notoriety of things that have come and gone?
Yeah, I just did a commercial for the Alka-Seltzer Plus people in Hatcher Pass because it was the only place where there's any snow within 100 miles of Anchorage. And it went pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with the situation, and they are, and it's a authentic setup because it's something I was actually using before they said, hey, we'll give you money to say you're using this stuff. So it's going to start being on the air, I guess, in January. And
what other commercials have you done so far?
That's really the only one.
Have you done any beer commercials or anything like that? Or
No, no beer commercials.
no Miller Lights?
No.
Nothing, huh?
No.
You got any others planned?
Not at this point. I'm going to hopefully stay on with Alka-Seltzer Plus for, some time, I hope.
Bring a whole new meaning to the word drop, drop, fizz, fizz, huh?
Right.
That's right. Joe, you're going to be running the Bear Grease Classic. You got any other plans for races this year?
Well, depending on how the dogs look after the race, if they want to do it, I'll run the Kotzebue race, Nome Kotzebue.
Nome.
And maybe I'll follow Ray around the track a couple times here.
What specific plans do you have for not this year but next? Do you just go 1 year at a time?
Well, the Ditterod for sure the year after.
Okay. All right. And Libby, what will you do that year?
It depends. If we've got enough dogs, we might even try the insanity of taking both teams, 2 teams in the Iditarod, which would be interesting. But we're starting to have more young dogs, so we might have enough for 2 teams. We'll just have to see.
How much are you training your dogs right now?
Every day.
How far?
We change it a lot. Sometimes we take them on a longer run and then, intersperse that with shorter runs.
How many dogs you guys got in your lot now?
What we're training.
Say 50 dogs, 50 adults.
Yeah, we're working with about 20 or 25 for the race team and then pick out of those.
Okay. Well, Libby, as far as your notoriety goes and everything, what thing probably stands out is the most pleasant experience out of this, outside of winning the race?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's a lot easier to find a sponsor this year.
And who are your sponsors?
Well, the Alka-Seltzer Plus company is going to go ahead and sponsor me too.
Okay.
This year. So that's going to be the major sponsor, and they're also maintaining a certain amount of control, on who else sponsors me, because they've got to worry about their own image. They don't want, Fredericks of Hollywood or something sponsoring me, in addition. So
I don't know. I wouldn't think that'd be too bad myself. But no, seriously, if you guys had a lot of people up to Teller to take pictures from every, I know we've had a few people come through our terminal just to go up and see Libby and Joe and how they're doing. Do you guys get a lot of folks up there or not?
Not really.
Taking pictures?
Not a whole lot, but enough of them have been around.
Just in the last couple of weeks, we've had a few, so it seems like a lot.
What are their first reactions when they come out to tell her? And these people normally are from San Francisco or some other place. Are they all pretty blown away at first, or are they not?
It depends. A lot of them are, a lot of these photographers and stuff are real world travelers, so they've been almost everywhere, even places like Teller, Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Is it true they really wanted to name Teller Libbyville?
No comment.
What plans do you have for the future outside of the Iditarod?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Iditarod's enough for right now.
Okay, just concentrate on the short term.
Yeah, you pretty much have to concentrate just on Iditarod if that's what you're going to do.
Can we expect to see you guys in any of the local races outside of, say, the Nome Cots?
Well, I'll probably run some